So first and foremost, I'm sleepy. Hello everybody, this is Okami here, and today's my birthday, and despite having only about 3 or 4 hours of sleep every night for the last 2.5 weeks due to 16 credit hours courses in college, as well as working, I forget what I was gonna say after that. Now personally, I've been using Google Allo for a while now. I enjoy it, I like it. It's very sweet, nice to the point. We talked about it in our podcast every Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern time, live on YouTube, here on this channel. But I don't know how I feel about it because Google has released so many messaging apps and text apps and series of communication apps back to back to back to back to back, and it's annoying. That being said, the one thing that I truly do like about Allo is that Google Assistant built-in functionality, being able to communicate with friends and like bring up show times and schedules and etc. It's really sweet, really nice, and actually very useful. One thing that I don't like about it is how it's just really super simple. You could have added the functionality of Google Assistant into Google Hangouts. Everyone in the Google ecosystem already uses Hangouts. I'm not sure exactly why they decided to go a separate entity with Allo, but I mean, it's gonna be a really big push for Google to be able to concrete Allo in a foundation that forces or makes the majority of the Google ecosystem users to use it over Google Talk, Messenger, and Google Hangouts. I think it's possible, especially when they're gonna release more updates for Allo and bring more functionality to it, but when is that gonna happen? You never know with Google. And that's the biggest hurdle, in my opinion, that I think they're going to have. The second is the whole thing about security. And when we talk about security, it's important to showcase the things that were stated by Snowden. Yeah, Snowden, the guy who basically uncovered that our American government was illegally spying on all of its own citizens, and then the government really didn't do anything about it because the government is the government, and it's just kind of pure indication of corruption. But I mean, hey, and the guy ended up fleeing America to find asylum in other countries. Has a movie coming out that for some reason has sex scenes in it. I'm not sure why you have to have sex scenes in a movie about Snowden, but the movie is about the whole government spying on the citizens of its own country thing, not about how he's been laid. Yeah, that guy. He recently set out a series of tweets talking about Google surveillance, Google Allo. He stated that that's Allo. Don't use Allo. It will record every message you ever send and make it available to the police upon request. And this is the main title, or the main line that almost every article about tech and security and your mainstream media was kind of rolling out with it. And I don't really mind it because with something like this, the clickbait is actually still on topic, and it's something very important. So if you clicked on it and you read it, kudos. But I mean, people were like just skimming through a lot of articles, and some articles didn't even do the complete set of tweets from Snowden, and they missed some very key points. Because Snowden also states, by default, it, as in Allo, is less safe than WhatsApp, which makes it dangerous for non-experts. And that's again the key point, non-experts. If you don't know anything about security, you likely don't even care about security, which then you probably don't even care about this video. Because Google Allo has a built-in feature, or I guess functionality, a built-in function. I don't know if you want to call it a feature. I think it should be kind of the mandatory set by default thing, but I mean, we're playing with semantics about what companies does with their own apps and software, and how we have a choice whether or not we want to use them for said features or lack thereof. or whatever isn't set by default or can be set by default, but it allows you to have incognito conversations, which allows the messages to have a set timer that eventually dissolves. And these messages are actually user-to-user encrypted, unlike the normal messages in Google Allo, which is user-to-Google encrypted to user. So there's that middleman, and Google has the keys to the user-to-Google to user encryption. And as they state, if the government, NCIA, FBI, NSA, etc. wants to get into those messages, they just have to request them. And if you do not use the incognito conversations, they will have your entire conversations about what you went shopping for and which mangoes you picked up. You're sending so many photos of your babies because I don't understand. I don't need to see pictures of your baby. So I don't disagree with Snowden. I think you should be weary about the software that you use. If you are a stickler when it comes to security, when it comes to communication, applications and apps and whatever, I mean, personally, I would go with what Snowden uses because I use it. It's Signal. Lewis got me started using it because, Lewis is a security tinfoil hat person, and I mean that in a respectful way. Or do I, Lewis? Maybe I'm reading your mind if you're not wearing that tinfoil hat. And just Signal is the best types of secure communication app out there, in my opinion. The same can be said because I know WhatsApp is the #1 used messaging app, and I can't for the life of me figure out why, aside from wanting that user-to-user encryption. But that's not why the average user uses it. And from what I've seen, it's nothing special in my opinion. I don't know. So the point that I'm trying to make is Google Allo is perfectly fine to use. I'm going to continue using it when I have one-on-one conversations. I'm going to continue to use the incognito communications. Otherwise, I'm going to use just normal messages, but I'm not going to send anything stupid over communication. Mind you, this doesn't mean I'm one of those people who are saying, if you have nothing to hide, then you don't have anything to complain about. I truly understand the concern about security. I use various encrypted ways to communicate with certain people because privacy. I get that. It's important. No matter what other people think, my privacy, your privacy, Jim, Joe, and Bianca's privacy are just as important. But at the same time, I know what I'm using. I know what I'm sending, and I can freely use something that's not secure if I'm not sending anything sensitive. It's about how you use a platform, how you use a tool, how you use any means of communication in the day and age of massive computer intelligence and etc. So that's just my take on it. That's just my opinion on it. I'm curious as to know what your opinions are. So let me know those opinions down in the comment section below, and I'll try to respond back if you have any questions, any opinions, if you want me to cover something, and if I have time, I will see you all in the next video. But until then, as always, remember to indeedly do take care.